Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk community. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about us. Let's talk about us. Let's talk about us. Let's talk.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk About It with me and you. I'm Lady Pauline, and today my host is Mr. Wayne Gilman, the famous Mr. Wayne Gilman.
Oh, please.
It's an honor to have you here.
It's an
co-hosting
honor to
with
be
me.
here with you.
Yeah.
You know, even though I'm not getting paid for this.
Yeah, well, that's life, you know. But today we have a very interesting guest, Mr. Ruben Wills, who is the former councilman for District 28 here in Queens, and he's running again to be re-elected to his seat. And I wanted to talk to you, talk to Ruben about what his plans is and a few other things.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm not sure what time they're going to see this or hear this.
Right.
So I just covered all the bases. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah. Ruben, tell me a little bit about the last 10 years. You've been through a lot.
Yeah, to say the least, right?
Yeah.
2010, we were elected into the city council after the former council member, Tom White, passed away. That was a rough election. We went through a lot for that election. Immediately, once the election happened, we had the blizzard of 2010, which shut down the city.
Yes, I remember.
We managed to deal with that in our community, going and shoveling people out, using truck to pull people out. I remember off of 158th Street, I had a Suburban at that time, and there was a woman that was having a heart attack, and the ambulance couldn't get to her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we actually took out shovels and shoveled our way through with that Suburban, picked her, brought her out to where the ambulance can get her.
Yeah, I remember that blizzard
yeah.
very well. I was going to be having a party here, and nobody showed up.
And
They couldn't get-
because of the blizzard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a party, people coming, right? So we did that. We managed to work with the community. We put forth an agenda that the majority of the people got behind, making sure that the 6 schools that we had in the district that were underperforming or failing or persistently dangerous were turned around. We dealt with the principals, we dealt with the community, provided the capital. Then we put forth the digital vision to make sure all of our schools and our children would have laptops and things instead of just paper. We put forth a school feeder program. We did a lot of things. And then the Attorney General, Eric Schneiderman, came after me. And said that I was misusing campaign funds and funds from my not-for-profit, right?
Okay.
And then we had a
Oh,
court
so you
case.
had another business. You had a business.
Oh, I had a successful not-for-profit, New York for Life, where we were doing amazing work with single mothers.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, we used to do our brunch. The single mothers brunch was the biggest thing. Every Saturday before Mother's Day, we would have about 500 women over at the Robert Ross Family Life Center on 172 and Linden Boulevard. We did amazing work with the single mothers, and that came out of the Christian Basketball League. So we did a lot of work that was all born from a need in the community.
Okay.
So
Which is very positive.
yeah, it
So
was.
they were saying that you was misusing funds.
Yeah, they said I misused campaign funds and I misused funds for the not-for-profit.
Like you was commingling.
No, they were saying I was stealing.
Oh, you
yeah,
okay, how they
no,
use
let's
the
be
word
clear.
steal.
Right.
Yeah,
All right.
commingling is when, I put my private money in and then the grant money comes in, which did happen.
Yeah.
But the commingling is not illegal.
Okay.
They were saying that I was stealing
Stealing.
money, right, which was just ridiculous on its face.
Well, only if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just curious about that. Was there anyone politically that you can think of who probably tipped the controller off at the time to even suggest something like that?
It wasn't the controller per se. The state controller DiNapoli just jumped on board. It was the Attorney General Eric Schneiderman.
Oh, right.
Right, and he's the one that did it. And I know exactly why he did it. He knew he did it because the former Senator Shirley Huntley, who I worked for, he was going after her.
Yep.
I was her chief of staff, and I pushed heavy back. And while I was pushing back, we found out some information, and the information was 100% true, that he had did what he was accused of doing that brought him down to a woman prior to that.
Right.
Right, and he knew I knew that information, so he wanted to come after me.
And this ultimately led to your incarceration?
Right, yeah, it led to a conviction. I went to trial. The judge, Ira Margolis, they had the state had 17 or 19 witnesses. Don't take it as gospel. It was one of those. I had like 75 witnesses.
Wow.
They wouldn't let me bring any of my witnesses then. They told me I had to bring my witness list down to 20 to match theirs, 17 or 19 to match theirs. No problem, we did that. And then they kept telling me they wanted me to cop out, basically say I did it. And they gave me 28 felonies, right? Every little thing was a felony.
Right.
But they thought that, they would be able to pressure me to do that. But fortunately, we had some money, so we were able to hire some great attorneys. They made me go through 3 or 4 attorneys. I wouldn't say I did it. Then they offered me a misdemeanor from all of these felonies, a misdemeanor, just say you did it and resign. And I said, no, if I gotta go to prison for it, I'll go to prison for it, but I didn't do it. Then they put another case on me in Manhattan, which is something that wasn't even prosecutable, actually, just to make me cop out in Queens. I still didn't do it. I went and so we had some phenomenal attorneys. I went and got some more attorneys. They took me to trial, and then at the end of their witnesses, none of their witnesses can ever said that I did anything. The ones from the city, I have the trial transcripts, the ones from the city, from campaign finance and from the state actually said what I did wasn't a crime, right? What they were accusing me of, not what I did, what they were accusing me of wasn't a crime. And they had never, even until the day of the trial, flagged my campaign, ever.
Wow.
Now, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
but,
cut me off whenever.
When you're in this position, because I run a business as well, people do things behind your back. How much checking did you do before he was accused of all this? Do you do checking, with your staff to make sure everything is in order?
Yeah, sure.
And this is in,
Sure. This wasn't even a case of that, because my staff didn't do anything wrong.
Okay.
This was just, if anything, there was some sloppy bookkeeping, but they never put that out to the public, right? And I know who was behind it. To this day, I know who was behind it. And then the judge didn't let me have any witnesses. He said, you can have 5 witnesses, and then he wouldn't let me have the 5 witnesses. So, that's like if you have a baking contest and you say that you're going to choose the person who made the best cake, but 2 people you're not going to let them have the ingredients to make the cake, right? So the cake is going to come out messed up, and that's what happened. The trial came out like that. And I was convicted, and I had to go to prison for 2 to 6.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
How did you feel? That's like, a slap in the face. Just, the idea of everything that you have done in your life, positive, now you're going to jail. That's like, what a feeling.
You know what? I expected it.
You did.
Which is bad, yeah. From where I'm from, that's just what happens, right? And we don't, I was taught never to cop out and never to do this and never do that. We're going to take it to trial and see. And when I took it to trial, we had some people that had already done 20 years and were wrongly convicted. Derek Hamilton, Shabaka Shakur. These are people that did 20, 25 years for murders they didn't commit, and they were home. And they were coming to the trial every day saying they railroading you. So everybody else in the community was like, no, you got this beat. I had judges coming into the courtroom telling me that they were taking bets, literally, that they were taking bets to see how many, it was going to be a hung jury, how many jurors was going to side by my side, because they didn't have any evidence. Then they threw the last minute thing about not having witnesses. So when it happened, I had expected it, right? I had told my family this was going to be. I made sure there was money there, but I think the slap in the face came from all of the letters that people sent in. When I read, I could only literally, even to today, I only read like 11 letters. And we had, 60, 70, 80 letters that came in, but I couldn't read past that because it would literally take me to an emotional point where I would cry sometimes, even in the cell, that these people thought this highly of me, or people wrote. I forgot half the stuff they were talking about that I did, or we did, because everything was attributed to us as a community doing this good work. So that's when the slap in the face came. I said because they didn't just dog me, they didn't just, at Cozine, my reputation and my name. They did it to the community. You know, I had people in the community that were crying and saying, like, they took us out of here when we were moving. We were just going forward.
Yeah, sure.
So that's where that feeling that you said, it came about.
You know, something that you did that really impressed me years ago. I did an interview with you in your office on Southern Boulevard,
remember.
and I think afterwards I was talking about Baisley Gardens here, and we was having a rat problem.
Yes, yes.
I mean, it was
Yeah,
bad.
it was bad. Yes.
And I was telling you that I had some things in my apartment that needed fixing, and you said I'm gonna make I'm gonna help you and make call to management.
The management.
And they came, and you called me back to find out was everything okay.
Well, that's probably because I'm scared of you. You know, if I didn't call back, I'd have problems, right? Like,
Why do everybody say that about me?
we have a different stock of women in our community. Like, they don't play. If
No.
they say something, that's why I don't understand why some of these elected officials are allowed to get away with what they get away with. You know, I was out Saturday, and people were running up to me and was like, "You got to do this and you got to do that." I'm like, "I'm not in the office anymore. I don't get a check. I don't have a staff."
Right.
But no, you're back. If you're walking the streets, you got to do it. And I'm like, "But you have
Right.
elected officials that you can go to, right?"
And I was going to touch on that also, but I mean, the thing of your situation is almost comparable to Yusef Salon. I consider you like the same treatment that the Central Park Five got. They're all exonerated now, and thank God your name is cleared. But they took those years out of you. And what brought me to your attention was an interview that you did, I believe, with NBC a few months back.
Melissa Russo.
And talking about the improprieties that are going on in the prison system, which needs to really be exposed because there's so many people who are caught up in that system and they don't have a voice.
Right.
Right. So I don't know where to begin with first, but I guess the thing is the fact that you were able to clear your name. Or do you have the support, since you're running for the seat again, of the incumbent? Because she's running for mayor.
No, she's trying to support her, I guess, who she made to be chief of staff now so that he can run.
Oh.
She's supporting him.
Okay.
And I wouldn't have run, with that being said. I got into the race late because I had a conflict, right? I was doing a lot of work in the criminal justice system. Getting people home. You just mentioned the Central Park Five.
Yes.
Well, they exonerated 5, but there were really 8 of them.
Yeah.
Right? And 3 of them they copped out because their attorney said at that time, that landscape, that narrative, they were going to get crucified at trial. So they took the time, even though they didn't do it, which is something common amongst our
system.
people, right?
That's happening.
And they went to prison, and one of them has passed away. One of them we're trying to find, and there's another gentleman, Stephen Lopez, who my brother Bob brought to me when I came home and I started doing this work. And I didn't want to do it because I was depressed. And he kept saying, "You won't get healed until you start doing the work." So I started doing the work, and we got him exonerated. Now this is 30 plus years later, right? So, and Stephen has an incredible story because he was left out. Right? He was left out of the documentaries. And when he came home, he wasn't left out because when he came home, the Daily News and all the newspapers put the gang leader of this is home. Why is he home early? So he had to deal with that, and he's carried that scarlet letter that entire time. He didn't get a check. He didn't get exonerated in the media and stuff like that.
kidding.
No, and to this day, we're still fighting so that we, people like myself, but more so them, can be compensated by this, right? But no, there was 8 of them, and so that was part of the work I was doing.
Because they always talk about 5. They always
They always talk about 5, right?
Yeah, I know.
So the Manhattan DA said it was a no-brainer. We brought it to the Manhattan DA previous to Alvin Bragg, and he was hemming and hammering about it. And we said, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to go register 10,000 people in Manhattan. You won't have to worry about hemming and hammering it no more because the only thing you guys respect is special interests. You respect unions because they have a lot of people that will vote their way.
Right.
You respect rich people because they can go and pay for ads against you and things like that. So, when we did the work, when I came home, we got the Voter Restoration Act passed, which gave everyone now who has ever been previously incarcerated the right to vote.
Yeah.
And people don't know it. So I said,
Yes,
we're gonna,
I did hear about that. Yes,
so I
that's
said,
wonderful.
we're going to register these people to vote. So the next time somebody tells me that they're not going to do something right by somebody, we're going to deal with it in that arena.
I also heard that when you was incarcerated, your health issues. You had some health issues that wasn't being addressed. And can you tell me a little bit about that and how you felt and what happened?
So, and that's back to the political system, right? The year and a half before I went in, I had 12 surgeries. And I was in the hospital for like 6 weeks at a time, and some stretch 4 weeks at a time.
Wow.
And I gave them permission to tell people that I wasn't being absent from my counselor job. I had health issues. But because I wasn't in alignment with the speaker at that time, she would just put out that his absentee is a record so that people would have something else so that the AG would have something else to put out there in people's minds to show that I was derelict in some type of way. So during the trial, I had to sit in special seating. I had to do certain things for health reasons, and the AG kept trying to get to my health files, and we said no. So we gave it to the judge, and during the remanding, the sentencing phase, the judge admitted in open court that I had serious health issues, and he said that I want him committed to Rikers Island, to the NICU building, North Infirmary, the medical building.
Okay.
They take me to Rikers Island. I could walk, I was fine. They take me to Rikers Island, and I'm at Rikers Island. I see the infirmary building. They take me off, and then they put these big tents up around me. Now, I'm on Rikers Island already, right? I've been on the bus with 50 guys.
Yeah.
I've been in the cell. Like, what is this for?
Four.
They put me in a van, like they did Mr. Gray in Maryland, with a metal divider down the middle. And it was bad. They had me cuffed and stuff, but with no seatbelt. So the van threw me back and forth, and it messed me up to the point where I was unconscious when they opened up at the stop. They took me to the boat in the Bronx instead of just committing me like the judge said. And they had time, because from the time I was remanded to the time they got there, 10, 12 hours had passed. And the judge said, this is immediate. So they did that. And they woke me up. I couldn't walk. So I was in the wheelchair for 7.5 months after that.
Wow. There's a case up in Connecticut that was like that. But I guess the thing that really gets to me hearing all this, I'm certain Trump's attorney was not, afforded this kind of, wouldn't even call it he wasn't treated the same way you were in transporting back and forth to Rikers and things like that.
Of course not.
So there's always like two standards when it comes to people who...
It's two standards when it's, one, a minority, and when it's someone without money.
Right.
Right. They have to really hate you for them to treat you as they treat us as the norm, right? Because there's an unwritten policy of Rikers Island that they just don't take care of health care. But if you look at Harvey Weinstein,
Right.
the fact that this man has, believe he has cancer,
Yeah.
Cancer, yeah.
and his attorneys have to fight for him to go to a hospital instead of being held on Rikers, it's just ridiculous, right? You know he has cancer and he's fighting a case.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So he had to be hated because he's being treated like I was treated,
Right.
And that doesn't happen to white folks at that level and with that kind of money.
That's very
Sobering.
deep. That's very deep. So what was the outcome for you? When did you get everything addressed? Well,
No.
After
No,
never.
No, what happened was I had a few people that had to advocate for me and my family, and they were calling and Vanessa Gibson, Jemani Williams, and Erica Ford came up to the prison, to jail, to Rikers. Maybe I was there for maybe 6 or 7 days later, and came out on a late visit. They told me it was an attorney visit, and I was like, there's no attorney visits time of night, but the guards would take you places and beat you up, right? The COs upstate and Rikers. Not all of them, because we have a lot of COs that live in this community, live in Rochdale, and they're incredible people. I'll go to bat for them every day.
Okay.
But sometimes there's orders given and certain things happen, right? So I didn't want to go, but they took me, they wheeled me in, and they saw me, and it was so bad that Erica and Jemani actually turned around like they were crying. So Bill de Blasio, who was the worst mayor in New York City's history, he and that was a direct shot. I just want, every time I get a chance, I'm gonna take that shot.
The jab.
He was getting calls from the press now, and his excuse, I believe, in one of the newspapers was, I didn't want to get involved because I didn't want to show a political preference. And they said, but he's a constituent. He's no longer a politician; he's a constituent.
Right.
So you're saying that because he's a politician, he shouldn't get health care? It didn't make sense. So the next day, they came down with like 40 people into the cell block, and it was all we heard was the foots, and I'm inside the cell because I can't walk. I'm in pain, and they brought me out, and which was amazing because the deputy warden was a black woman, and she yelled at me and said, "How dare you tell people you're not getting medical and this, and the other thing." So some of the guys in the cell block was like, well, why would you be mad at him for telling the truth? He's not getting medical. Like we've been
Right.
calling and going back and forth. So they took me in, and then they took me to the NICU building. And even that was an interesting experience because when I got there, and tell me if I'm talking too long. Right? So when I got there like 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not gospel. I don't remember what time, but it was really late. And I woke up the next morning. A doctor came in. And when she came in with like 4 or 5 people. And she came in and she started talking questions to me, just asking me questions. And I said, well, this is not the proper venue for you to be asking me questions because it's a dorm. Your bed is next to somebody
so
else's
what
bed,
happens
somebody
to
else's bed. I said, this is a
privacy?
HIPAA violation.
Right,
It's privacy.
right. Yes.
I said, you have to take me somewhere privately and speak to me,
Privately, of
right?
course.
And she said, what? I don't really care. I don't care about you anyway. Blah, 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 blah. So I said, I called her out of her name and I said, you need to leave here. I don't need your care because this is not real care. So as soon as I left, one of the women who was a huge advocate in this community, her grandson was there. And he came over next to me and he started talking to me. And he was like, hey, Councilman, blah, 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 blah. Now, when you're in jail or prison, you never answer that kind of stuff because you don't know what people's intentions are. Right? So he's talking to me and I'm saying, what are you talking about, bro? Like, where are you getting this councilman thing from? So then some other people came and they had the newspapers that I was just in.
Yeah.
And they removed her because of that. But I still didn't get the treatment. I went upstate to Marcy. I was there. And the way I got out of the wheelchair was the bloods. The gang members gave me therapy, like took me to the gym.
No kidding. Wow.
Took me to the
my
gym.
goodness.
And did
That
that.
is
That's the
one
only way
hell
I
of a
got out.
story.
Yeah.
Ruben.
I'm sorry I took too much time.
No,
I
it's
said
okay.
5 minutes.
That's all right.
Yeah,
That's
I see
fine.
him sitting at the 5-minute mark, and he's dead serious about it. He said, I held the sign up 3 times already.
Okay, Ruben, that was, I wanted to hear that story, but I wanted to have 5 minutes, so what do you intend to do now? Are you running again for city councilman for
Right.
28th district? What do you want to do that you haven't done before?
You know what? It's not even what I want to do that I haven't done before. I want to keep building on the things that we did. We left a lot of stuff that was just undone because I guess people have political attitudes that I don't want to finish what he did, right? Except for the parks and the ribbon cuttings. They'll go do that stuff that we started. But, we started a affordable housing project on Tuskegee Airman Way, on Union Hall and on Guy Brewer. It's supposed to be something like 100 and something apartments. This place should have been built and done already, and it would have been for our residents at 100% affordability. Still not done.
Wow.
We have, if you go up and down 111th Avenue or anywhere where under the trestle or just regular places, we have dumping going on, right? That should not be happening. Inside of South Jamaica houses, there's homeless people on the rooftops and in the stairwells. We getting ready to go deal with that right now. And there's a fentanyl epidemic in the district that people are not talking about. So these are topics that are not hard to tackle. You just have to have the political will. But you can't have the political will if people just want to shake hands and smile and dance around in suits and be on Instagram. You have to actually be in the street and you have to take the tools that are given to you by policy and by law and by mandate and work with the community you have.
If you had a report card to give to extend on the work of what the successor person who replaced you, Adrienne Adams. What would you say about her record since taking over?
I wouldn't even comment on her record. I would just say that I'm not the one that would have to comment on it. I think the people who are hearing from her the guy who wants to replace her, that's worked for her for 8 years, he's coming out saying he's going to get the garbage cleaned up, he's going to get the streets done, he's going to do this. Well, then if you're going to do it, what were you doing in the last 8 years? You understand what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
you're saying that you did these parks and different things, but I built a school. You go to PS 48, my name is on we built a whole school. You know, we did these things
Right.
already. You know, we're looking at August Martin. We had set that up. There should be a drone class at August Martin. But if we had continued the work we did and Trump came in and they were talking about the air traffic controllers, then we would be able to send an entire class of air traffic controllers there from kids that graduated from August Martin into college because they
Wow.
would have been prepared already.
Exactly.
You know, we had robotics programs. We had feeder school programs from elementary to junior high school to high school. So our kids wouldn't have to worry about when they graduated high school if they wanted to go to law school. If they wanted to go to law school, they would already know what discipline they wanted to go into. So, I mean, we have not saying a progressive, but we have a progression that needs to be done, and it needs to be done rapidly for our communities to be able to even be on par with other communities.
Right. And one other thing, and I know that our time is limited, but what I was curious about, we're in a transit desert in this community.
Yes.
With all the building that's going on in Jamaica, there's got to be an accommodation to offset because, I mean, even just trying to negotiate Sutphin Boulevard getting down here, it's congested.
Right.
Any proposals?
Yeah, I would go back and rip apart the plan that they did for downtown Jamaica because they did not include the transit options, right? They didn't even include school options.
Or supermarkets.
Or everything. It's a food desert too,
It's a
right?
food-
It's a food desert too. So and these are problems that we had that we were addressing, and they just laid flat now. You have 4,000 apartments going online, and part of them are online already, and none of the infrastructure was built up.
Right.
That's a problem.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's what I wanted to find out because there's supermarkets that's missing and there's pharmacies that's being.
Well, the pharmacies have become supermarkets. People go to the pharmacies to buy food. Like I've never seen that before. And now the pharmacies have everything under lock because people were going in and robbing pharmacies.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a circle that
Vicious circle.
that we can't seem to escape until we break that wheel.
Well, Ruben Wills, I am so happy that you came to Let's Talk About It with me.
Let's
and
talk
you.
about it.
I hope to have you back later on in the year, but can you tell the audience how they can reach you?
Sure.
If they need to?
Yeah, if you want to reach me, if you want to be part of the campaign, if you want to just be part of a community conversation, you can go to Wills 2025. That's the website. And it's spelled out 2025. You could do that. Or you'll see me. You could just holler at somebody, do you know Ruben Wills? And they're going to get to you in my community. That's not a problem. Anywhere from Jamaica, I mean, people in Brooklyn and Bronx are reaching out to me to do things. So that's not a problem. There's a 6 degrees of separation. With me, it's like 4. 4 people know me
Exactly.
that you know.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, worried about that.
I also like to say you're on the Our World Media Network, and you've been listening to Let's Talk About It with me and you. I'm Lady Pauline, Mr. Wayne Gilman. Thank you for hosting today.
Thank you. You know, I still repeat that I didn't get any money, any compensation for this. But it's truly an honor to be here for my good friend, Lady Pauline.
Okay. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you for having me.